you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to The Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to The Songwriter Show. I'm Sarantos, your humble host and a fellow songwriter with a passion for crafting stories through music. As someone who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember, I know how every single song holds its own unique story. That's what brings us here together every Tuesday on Reality Radio 101 to celebrate the voices behind the music we all love. Tonight I'm so excited to have on the show Thomas Cunningham. He did not grow up at the piano. Born in Indianapolis, he was surrounded by music from an early age, thanks largely to his mother's voice. That's among his fondest memories, and he did begin playing the piano at the age of 19, a period of personal upheaval when music became both a refuge and an outlet.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Thomas. How are you?
Hi, Sarantos. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Tell us about the piano. Is that your main instrument?
Yes. I started to play when I was, older, like 19 or 20. My little sister had just gotten a piano, for the family, and she was playing, and I took it up as well. As I went on and got more into it in my mid-20s, I picked up guitar also and could play some things on the guitar, and I composed some things as well. But piano's always been my primary interest.
Tell us a little bit about any famous musicians you might admire, respect, or try to emulate.
Oh my goodness. In the contemporary scene, even though I don't really, rock is not my genre, I love rock and actually really admire performers who are good, natural, spontaneous performers. And one of, I think, the best is Jimmy Page. When he's playing, it's like he's not even there. He's engrossed, but he's very, how should you say? He's very detached, but not. He's like tied into you, but he's very serene. He has this look of serenity on his face, no matter what he's doing with the guitar. And to hear him play, it just flows, and it's just so unself-conscious. It's just a beauty to watch. But yeah. Other than that, as far as pianists, I've always, or just musicians, a lot of the classical composers I've admired, like Tchaikovsky, Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin. I learned to play some of those pieces early on from each of those, actually. But I love to hear stories of musicians because, you might have this feeling also, Sarantos. Sometimes you feel like you're kind of alone. I mean, there are certain people you can communicate, what you have in your mind that goes along with the music, but a lot of people really don't quite understand. But when you read some of these biographies, you get to know their personalities and realize that, you're not alone.
2 points. One is it's wonderful, like you said, when it's just effortless. They're up there and they're just whatever instrumentalist is. The second is, unfortunately, it's a very competitive market. And I think we all have this problem where we're trying to differentiate each other. And that's probably the hardest part that really sometimes prevents us from being our authentic selves, because you're trying to chase an ideal, or what do people want to hear, or what's on the radio, as opposed to just being yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that is, that can be a problem, I suppose. I hear other musicians talking about it. That's one of a few problems I don't have, though, because whenever I try to sound like other people, I always feel like I fall short. They do it better than I do. Why am I trying to sound like them? And other people can imitate them better than I do. But on the other hand, no one really composes things the way I do. So I have to just focus on my strong points, what I'm good at, and move forward from there. I mean, a certain percentage of people are going to like it. A certain percentage are not going to like it. Hopefully more like it than not. But at the end of the day, if you get accepted or rejected based on what you have done, it means more. It hurts more if you get rejected, but it means a lot more if you get praise for it.
Tell us about your songwriting process. How does that work for you?
Generally, sometimes I'll just be looking for a feeling and I'll just be messing around with various chords and melodies and try different harmonic combinations with melodies, trying to capture what I'm feeling. A lot of times I'll just be literally just noodling around doing different things. I go, boy, I kind of like the way that, transitioned to this, and I'll just play with it more, and then I'll let that evoke a feeling in me to develop it more. It's all, based on, how I feel. And a lot of times there'll be segments that I really don't develop, that they're kind of floating around the back of my mind. And I'll be working on something else and go, boy, I like it up to this point, but this bridge, I don't have a good bridge. And then I'll remember something I've done. I go, yeah, that works here. I think everyone does it.
Tell us about the song that we're going to hear. What inspired this one when you created it?
Well, this one is called Nanette. It was named for my first wife, and it's kind of ironic. I mean, that I'd be playing it now, but I think it's really good for the format of your program, because it's not a lot of the new agey kind of slow stuff, some of which I do. This is more almost a traditional kind of love song. And to me, when I was writing it, I had the idea of making it sound a little Gershwin-esque. And I think you'll know what I mean. About halfway through it, you'll see these kind of transitions that might remind you of that. But it's just a kind of classic love song. It was written a year or two after we were initially married.
All right, tell you what, let's take a listen and then we'll come back and talk some more, okay?
Great. Thanks.
All right, everybody, check this out. Here we go. So thank you for sharing that song with us. Do you always do instrumentals? Do you ever do things with lyrics? How do you figure that out?
Well, I have written, probably 15 songs with lyrics, some around that. I've actually recorded a few back when I was in college. I did a couple of recordings with a singer on the side, and at the time there really wasn't much of an avenue, so I would just do the recordings. I'd mail them into a record company, and I'd always get really nice letters back, but no one picked it up. But I didn't know anyone. I had no ins or anything, and I did that on the side. And I think some of the lyrics I write, I'm very proud of it. I'm not as much a lyric writer as I am a music composer, but I do like it. And sometimes, if lyrics are done properly, they enhance the music and vice versa. And if I can't do that, then I leave it alone in a particular piece.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you perform in public very often?
I haven't in a while. Since I moved to Houston a couple of decades ago. I'm really involved in the medical field and the pediatric cardiology profession, and I spend a lot of time doing that. Now, I've also played, publicly here at nightclubs now and then, or restaurants. Before I moved here from Indianapolis, I used to play in a restaurant when I was also working full time, and it was a wonderful experience because it got me over stage fright. I did it for over a year, 3 or 4 nights a week. I ended up having to quit because I was getting so exhausted. I got mononucleosis.
Oh, wow.
And I
Yeah.
had to lay back, but I was just wearing myself out. But, at first, the guy who hired me, is an absolute saint because I couldn't have sounded any good. I was like wooden, and
Yeah.
he didn't fire me. And as the weeks went by, I got better and better. After about 6 months, I felt like I could kind of tap into the audience and give them something,
You got
of
better.
value. And
Yeah.
yeah. And after a year, I felt, like I had become an actual performer.
Yeah. It does take time. That's the one thing that no one wants to talk about. Everybody wants to be an overnight sensation, but it just takes time to get better, man, at performing, at making it, all of it. It really does.
Yeah, and the stage fright, boy, that's hard to overcome. But if you tell yourself you don't have any choice, you're going to do this, or you're just going to do it, you will. And like you said, it takes time.
Tell us a little bit about what exciting thing you got coming for the fans this year. Anything you want to share with us?
Lately, I've been making music videos, but I've have 2 albums. Previously, I've got a playlist on Spotify, and instead of going into the studio and recording another album, which I haven't had time for, making video recordings at home of some new material. I've got 4 of them up on, I think 4 of them up on YouTube, and on my website. I've got a personal website, and I've got a couple more I'll be recording there. Some of it is of me playing, some of it is of other things that go along with what I'm playing, the theme and the continuity. So that's what I've got going right now. Eventually, I will record another album, but it's the video recordings that I'm working on right now.
You talked a little bit about this, but how do you balance music with your other obligations? Your significant other, any kids, your job. How does that work for you?
Well, I have a son. He's 24 now, and he has a wife and kids, and we're very close. So I don't have kids that take up my time, but I am still full-time employed in the medical field, and doing both is very difficult. I've also got 3 dogs, and that's like having a kid, right?
Yeah. Well, are they cute though? If the dogs are cute, then it's worth it.
Oh, they are, but they're kind of large dogs, so they require a lot more attention than a small dog. And, I get plenty of exercise walking them, that's for sure, and playing with them, but they're worth it. But balancing, oh yeah, it's really rough. I mean, you have to be as disciplined as you can, take care of yourself dietarily
Yeah.
and I meditate a fair amount, and I think that's extremely helpful. Plus I've got a pretty good analyst.
Tell us about what you like the most about writing a song.
To me, it's really the visual imagery. I don't know. I'll bet anything you could relate, but there's when you're composing something, the music has a space in your mind that is somewhere between visual and audio. It's not either one, but it's both, and it's something different. I mean, it sounds like a riddle, but you know it when you feel it in your mind. And when you're creating something, it conjures that. And when you have that sensation, that feeling, you get certain images and memories and soundscapes. That to me is a marvelous feeling. And if it can make you feel a certain way that you're trying to express, then it's successful.
What do you think is the biggest mistake people make?
You mean in the music business or just
Yeah, just in the
composing?
music business. Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. I probably made all of them. I have I guess, to not be as involved as you need to be to promote things and expect greater results. To really get anywhere with it, I think you have to be, heavily involved. And I'm more involved now than I've actually ever been. But still, again, working full time, I don't know if it's ever going to be enough. But I think that's a lot of it. It's just putting the time, the effort into making a success out of it.
Tell us a little bit about where fans can find you, stream you, buy your music. Where can they find everything?
Well, I'm on Spotify and I think Instagram. I've got a playlist. It's under Thomas Cunningham, and there is another Thomas Cunningham. He plays guitar in a very different genre. But if you look up Spirit Rain Music, Thomas Cunningham, Spirit Rain Music, you can find me, online or Spotify. And I have a website, spiritrainmusic.net, on YouTube also.
I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Yes, yeah, Sarantos, it's very nice of you to ask me. I've had a good time. Hopefully I'll talk to you another time.
Yeah, awesome. All right. And thank you to all the listeners out there tonight. We both hope this episode has inspired you to explore your own unique story through music. My name is Sarantos. It's been a pleasure having you with us tonight. Please join us every single Tuesday evening. Have a great night. I love you all.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.